6 degrees to Kevin Bacon. 6 degrees to not quite, but close. I want to report this carefully to you. Fairness and accuracy matter a lot to me. The idea of smearing someone innocent keeps me up at night. And of course, I'm pissing off some powerful people. Being a journalist was never an ambition of mine. I'm not an investigative reporter. The only reason I'm in the middle of what may turn out to be the biggest story of our lives is because I try to bring fairness. I'm not a professional journalist, just fair. I have no interest in reporting rumor. Friends of mine in law enforcement were telling me since April that the feds were involved in the Karen Reed case. And I avoided saying that because it could be just rumor. Cops have rumors too. So are the things I'm about to tell you now factual? Well, I describe them as very well sourced. So I'm now choosing to report them. If contrary evidence emerges, I'll be the first to shout it from the mountaintops. But this stuff is well sourced from the inside. I want to do the right thing, and it strikes me that the right thing is to tell you what I can. I've had to walk back some of what I plan to tell you tonight because I've been on the phone right up until minutes ago. One high-level source, while confirming some of what I was about to report tonight, doesn't want it reported with any specific details at this time. Got to protect your sources. The information is going back and forth in many circles behind the scene. I'm going to give you what I can. I'm going to point you in the direction the evidence seems to be leading. 6 degrees to... Let's go back to when most of us heard about this case first, back in April. We were told that at 2:27, Jen McCabe searched for how long to die in the cold. At that moment, if the prosecution's charges are correct, she had no idea John O'Keefe wasn't home in bed. So if she made that search, that meant she knew he wasn't home in bed. She knew he was either lying, unconscious, in 0-degree weather, or he was about to be. That meant there was a conspiracy to cover up a murder and frame an innocent woman. It was hard to buy into the idea that 11 people inside the house, the Canton police, and the state police would be part of such a conspiracy. But the 2:27 a.m. search really made such a conspiracy kind of certain. But since then, for some of us, we're a little less sure that search really took place at 2:27 a.m. The prosecution has 2 data analysts who say it happened not at that time, but at the accident scene with EMS trying to revive John. If you accept the 2:27 a.m. search, and I only do so with reservations, then you're stuck trying to imagine this crazy and unlikely conspiracy. It seemed like a preposterous idea, and yet, why didn't the Canton police secure the crime scene? Why didn't they investigate the house? Why didn't the home's owner, Boston cop Brian Albert, ever leave the house when a fellow Boston cop was dead or dying on his lawn and his sister-in-law was out there in the middle of it all? Why didn't these cops immediately find and take possession of Karen's SUV? Why didn't they keep Karen with them, confiscate her clothing and her phone? Why wasn't ring video from the neighborhood and surveillance video from downtown immediately seized? When John was found, he was missing a shoe. Why did the Canton police give up their search for evidence without finding it? Why didn't they go into the house to look for it? And if they couldn't find it there, keep searching outside until they found it? There were 2 odd aspects of the case reported months ago by Turtle Boy on TB Daily News. A full week after the death of O'Keefe, Chief of Police Ken Berkowitz, who was out at the time on health leave, decided to drive by the location where O'Keefe was found. And as luck would have it, he spotted key evidence, taillight glass, that would help prosecutors make the match to Reed's SUV. The state police evidence team was alerted. Is the event odd? Yes. But is it suspicious? Not by itself. Is it possible that melting snow had miraculously revealed glass that several previous searches didn't find? Yeah. The second odd thing involving the chief was also reported by Turtle and shows the vital necessity of Turtle on this case, whatever you think of his politics, because witnesses with key information do go to him. In this instance, a reporter who is described as formerly mainstream was suddenly contacted by Chief Berkowitz. This was 3 days after John's death, which was not heavily reported in the media for some reason. I mean, a Boston cop killed on the lawn of another Boston cop. That's a big story, right? Out to the Boston Globe or Channel 5. But this reporter, not covering the story for anyone, but perhaps with the instincts of a seasoned reporter, tweeted the basic fact of the case, that a cop was found dead on the lawn of another Boston cop. And he named that other cop Brian Albert. Berkowitz swung into action to protect him, asking him to call. The reporter did. Turtle showed copies of this message from Berkowitz and the call log to the reporter. The chief asked the reporter to take down the tweet. He said the cop who lived there, Brian Albert, is a friend and a pillar of the community, and the chief didn't want Albert dealing with any bullshit. So the reporter did take it down. Those two facts, the chief finding the glass a week later and then asking a reporter to take a tweet down, do not indicate conspiracy. Nothing illegal about any of it. And it might just be thin blue line kind of stuff, cops protecting each other. But hold those actions by the chief in your mind, because there's more. 6 degrees more. Cops sticking up for each other and intentionally running a shoddy investigation of a fellow cop is not exactly breaking news. But for this conspiracy to work, for any theory of a conspiracy here to be plausible, it requires the police to do more than just run a shoddy investigation. It requires evidence to be planted, which they would have to either do themselves or knowingly enable it to be done by someone else. And I've had a hard time going there. Why would a Canton cop or a state trooper risk their freedom and careers to help another cop cover up a murder? I don't care how many 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon ways someone shows there are connections between the investigators and Brian Albert. It ain't worth it. You might look the other way if a bad cop does something wrong, but you don't ruin your life for it. So something was missing from the story for me. The motive just wasn't there. There wasn't enough motive to risk destroying their own lives. But based on new information, the motive is now falling into place. The picture is forming. I'm going to take you there, but I'm going to be cautious. So just bear that in mind, and we'll have more to say on this moving forward. The theory originally proposed by the defense and made famous by Turtle was that the nephew of Brian Albert, who lived near the victim, was a hothead who killed O'Keefe when he arrived home. There was said to be bad blood between the nephew and O'Keefe. So maybe O'Keefe went to the after-hours party just to continue partying, didn't expect the nephew to be there, and a fight erupted. O'Keefe was killed by a blow to a head, and everyone in the house wanted to protect the 18-year-old kid. So the conspiracy began. But none of that explained why the Canton state cops would help in the conspiracy. Sure, they might want to hook a brother up, but they aren't going to risk everything in order to protect someone else's kid. Even considering that Kevin Albert, another uncle of the nephew, is a Canton cop. They're not fixing parking tickets here. Not being able to imagine motive was something I just couldn't get past. Recently, Sean McDonough, a retired DEA agent, reported on this channel that the nephew was a drug dealer and that John O'Keefe dropped a dime on him, calling the Canton police. This started to put things in a different light. Maybe O'Keefe didn't go to the after-hours party to party. Maybe he went there to work out differences with the Albert family, a tense situation. And that's how tempers flared. But again, it still didn't make sense why other cops would risk everything to cover up a murder. There had to be more. There is. Those that are on the Reed is guilty side reached out to me recently to say that Karen Reed was actually the source of this story about O'Keefe diming on the nephew. Clever, right? Dastardly. I challenged Sean with this possibility, but he's been talking to people, including a cop inside the Canton police station. When the call came in from O'Keefe to report the nephew's drug dealing, this cop was in there. Now, this is a source Sean wants to protect. CPD is a small police force. Look, it goes without saying that this source is truly a hero in this case. He put his neck out there, and he's going to need support and protection. Hopefully the community rallies around him. Now, does this connect all the dots then? Far from it. Bear with me. Protecting the nephew of Canton cop Kevin Albert and Boston cop Brian Albert is not enough to explain the conspiracy which seems to have unfolded. Kevin was not a high enough ranking cop to make that kind of thing happen. He certainly had no influence with the state police, not that kind of influence anyway. Someone bigger had to order the code red. Since this story broke, there have been rumors about the FBI being involved in this investigation, as we said, in a federal grand jury. I had law enforcement sources telling me this, but as I said earlier, rumors sweep through law enforcement too, and I'm cautious when it comes to this stuff. I also needed to understand what would predicate a federal investigation. What would predicate getting the FBI involved? Yes, obviously corruption would warrant it, but what specific piece of substantiated information would be sent to the feds? And who would send it? They aren't going to launch this kind of thing based on a blogger's reporting or on a theory put out there by the defense. It's a big deal to seat a federal grand jury. There would have to be very compelling information related to corruption. There'd probably have to be a reason this wasn't passed off to the state police. Talking to Sean a couple of weeks ago, we kind of stumbled into a theory. What if a federal grand jury was already seated when the murder took place? What if a federal investigation was already underway? So the grand jury had nothing to do with the murder, not originally, though the murder investigation got swept up into it. This was an interesting theory, but the dots still didn't connect. What would they be investigating? The information that the nephew was dealing drugs was pretty solid, but that's small time, certainly nothing involving a federal investigation. However, we also learned that a Canton cop himself had been dealing drugs for many years, a surprisingly older officer around the age of 60. I'm only going to give you his name here because there are multiple sources. Rob Gooley. In fact, the fine cameraman and film editor for Turtle Boy, Richie, got a woman to admit on film last week that she had for years helped this cop deal prescription drugs. I've seen the video. Also, our investigator, Dave McGrath, was there for and spoke at length to her to further confirm this. So was this what the FBI was looking into? No, of course not. When Sean and I discussed it weeks ago, we understood that the FBI would not be interested in some petty drug dealing cop. That would be another federal agency looking into something like that. And since this time, this has been confirmed by someone, let's just say multiple sources, starting within the Canton police. Sure enough, the feds were investigating drug dealing in the Canton Police Department. But what does this have to do with the current federal investigation and grand jury? An investigation that sources also confirm involves the FBI. Why would the FBI be interested in this? This seems to be the key to unlock the whole mystery. The FBI would not be interested in a small-time cop doing petty drug dealing. However, they would be interested in a corruption scandal that reached into high places. 6 degrees to... Now, I doubt this higher official was involved in petty drug dealing. I mean, it's possible, but I doubt it. So why would he cover for the drug dealing cop and the drug dealing nephew? Why would he cover up a murder? The answer very likely lies in what the cop knows about this higher official. Whatever corruption that a higher official was involved in, the drug dealing cop and perhaps Kevin Albert are probably very aware of it. Think of it this way. If the nephew goes down, he's going to sell out the drug dealing cop for a deal with the prosecution. Then the drug dealing cop, in turn, is going to sell out the higher official. What dirt do they have on this higher official? No idea. But it's the only thing that explains his willingness to look the other way on drug dealing by someone in this department and then to help cover up a murder. Look, you need a large lever to move a large rock. To get this higher official to cover up a murder, it had to be a large lever. It had to be the kind of dirt that would result in ruin for him, and probably more than that, probably indictment and jail time, something big enough to warrant FBI attention. According to grand jury testimony, Brian Higgins, an ATF officer who had an office at Canton Police Headquarters and who was at the after-hours party, strangely logged into work at 1:30 a.m. He would have left the home on Fairview just moments before. John was either dead or dying on the lawn, or perhaps still inside the house. Early in the morning, Brian Albert called Higgins, Brian Albert's the homeowner, to say that a cop had been found, to say that John had been found dead on the lawn. At least that's their grand jury testimony. But coincidentally, the ATF agent took a phone call just before this. Like I said, it might be just coincidence, but it was from the chief of police, the same guy who would call the reporter to get him to pull down a simple tweet stating a Boston cop was found dead on the lawn of another Boston cop. The same guy who mysteriously found more taillight glass at the murder scene a week later. 6 degrees to Ken Berkowitz. Dave, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How you doing, buddy? How you feeling? Good?
Tired. Woke up feeling not too good today, and obviously it's been a long day of constant phone calls.
Yes.
A lot of it, some of it related to good news on our project for Tuesday, which has nothing to do with this, the documentary series that we're reporting on Dave McGrath's and Melanie Perkins' work. And so a lot of good stuff going on there. But yeah, obviously this is kind of stressful, knowing what's the right thing to do, what's the right thing to report, getting a lot of information from other people and then people giving you information, but then wanting to dial it back because they want to protect sources. I don't know. And I obviously I don't ever want to be involved with smearing somebody innocent. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think you took, first of all, the opening monologue's beautiful, partner. It was really great. I think that if I could just say one thing for 2 minutes, I think that people that know me and have read my book and read my reporting over the years know that, I'm a dog, and all I care about is getting the story right. And we think we know right now. We think we know. What we think that we have is police department completely out of control with selling drugs. And we have an officer in John O'Keefe, Freudian slip, who made a phone call thinking that he was turning in a teenage drug dealer and didn't realize that he was turning in a whole department, and in turn needed to be taken out. And it just so happened that it went down like it was. And Karen Reed, who was always innocent, was just a patsy. She was the Oswald of this whole thing. And there'll be more to come out. And a lot of people have done a lot of hard work on this. Me and Kevin are on the phone every day. I feel like we talk 3 times a day. We talk to 20 other sources involved in the case. And Sean McDonough has done, for a guy who's done decades and decades in the DEA, keeping us all safe and keeping drugs off the street, and keeping dangerous men away from our families. This might be the best investigative work of his life right here. So, we talked a lot today about how to move forward, and I think we're doing it the right way. We never want to disappoint the audience. We work really hard to get stories that no one talks about and give you the information that no one has. And I think we've done a little bit of that today, and we wish we had more. We wish we could do more, but we don't want to betray the people who are telling us things in confidence. And when they're ready to let us do it, we'll do it. At this point, I don't believe that the FBI is that grand jury is not an FBI grand jury. There was a federal organization looking into the Canton Police Department well before John O'Keefe was killed. That I can almost tell you at 100% certainty. And
from multiple sources.
Many sources.
Multiple officials. I just want to say multiple official sources. That's as far as I can go.
Right. So, and Burke, I'm not sure that any of this info we've ever taken credit for anything that Turtle Boy's ever reported. Absolutely not.
How many times did I mention Turtle Boy in that? How many times did I mention Turtle Boy in that opening monologue? I mentioned his name every single time for anything that was reported by him. So, and I really have to say, like I said in the opening too, my intention in launching this channel was not to be doing real-time investigations, exposing corruption. To be fair, I don't think that was Turtle Boy's intent when he launched Turtle Boy Sports. Mm-hmm. Stuff just started coming into him because he was willing to be fearless and go with it. And so now stuff is coming into us. We didn't ask for it. It's just coming in. So what do you do with it? I mean,
Right.
I think there are people that are in law enforcement that are slowly speaking out,
Right.
and behind the scenes and stuff like that. But they're in a difficult spot too. They want to do the right thing. These are the good guys, and their whole career has been centered on being not only doing justice but being loyal to the brothers that they work with. So we all understand that, So they're reluctant to come out, but they are slowly coming out. There's something dirty here. And also, again, I said this in the opening thing, Dave. I mean, if I got something wrong, if somebody comes back with evidence that shows that wrong or even says it might be wrong, I will shout it from the mountaintops tomorrow. I mean, the idea of like smearing somebody that's innocent and who's served the public for a long time.
Right.
I don't know. But if there is a conspiracy here, look, if that 227 search took place, and I know you're absolutely convinced it
Which
did.
It absolutely did. Yeah, it had to. Yep.
I'm still a little more on the fence, but if it turns out to be that it did, there's no question there's a conspiracy here. There's no question that state and Canton police forces were part of that, and we're helping to cover it up. It takes someone with a lot of power to do that.
Right.
Okay. Someone who has trained with the FBI, someone who is on powerful committees with Homeland Security. I feel bad saying that because, again, I don't want to smear someone, but that is someone who stuck his nose into this case in a way that's suspicious and does have the power to do this. And we're being told by people in official sources, even though we had to dial some of it back today, that we're on the right trail. So, but again, just what it is, somebody comes up, those people might have something wrong too. So someone can come up to us and we'll definitely set the record straight. It's never my intention to be a breaking news kind of place. I like doing analysis,
Right. It's just, a lot of stuff has come in to us lately, and for the audience and for, the truth for everybody. I mean, we feel like we need to talk about it. So, the interview is, I believe Turtle Boy will post it someday. Maybe he won't. It was something that was shown to us, in confidence, basically. So, and then I had spoken to some people at the rally. I had spoken to a woman at the rally, and she basically, told me, not just her, a lot of people, not just her, a few people that had always bought prescription drugs from this one officer, and he was well known as the plug in the around. I mean, he was well known as that guy. So you have a police officer dealing drugs. You have a police chief or may not know about this, looking the other way. Hypothetically, he's running the dirtiest outfit on the planet right now. And he sees a guy who knows all about his operation go down for potentially a murder rap. He gets worried that this guy may give him up if he goes down. And this is how you have all these cover-ups, So that's what kind of the track that my mind is on right now. And I'm not speaking for anybody but me.
I'm looking at the chat. Someone named Oats H and Honey has asked why Proctor, and this for me was also, and I was talking about this on the phone today too with a couple different people. I don't have any reason to indict Proctor, okay, and I don't know exactly. I don't want to indict the man. I don't know.
No.
It does seem to be a corrupt investigation took place here. There's a lot of evidence for it. He ran the state police aspect of it. But what would his motivation be? I don't know. And this is the thing, the last piece of the leg that we didn't of the puzzle that we didn't really have. We do know that he's not doing it because he partied at the house on Fairview a few times. You don't ruin your life for that. You don't risk ruining your life for that. There has to be something more powerful. Right. So somebody is pulling strings in a way. I'm not a conspiracy guy, I mean, but if there is a conspiracy here, as there seems to be, and as there would have to be if 2:27 a.m. is true, then these guys don't have motive unless it's somebody very powerful pulling the kind of strings that could impact your career. So you have to look to someone like that, some people like that, and say that's where the fault of this lies ultimately.
Right. And I was talking with someone today, and we had this long discussion, and we both agreed on just about everything. And then we got to Michael Proctor, and neither one of us can make heads or tails. But one thing I do know, and I'm not sticking up for Michael Proctor, he's obviously somehow complicit in this. I'm just not sure what. One thing I do know is a lot of people say, you know, he showed up because he's friends with the family. That's how he got on this investigation. It's not true. He was on call that night. If it were me or you who got killed, McGrath or Linehan or Liz Nelson or Mary or anybody else in this chat, and you were in Norfolk County, Michael Proctor was going to show up. That's one thing that you need to know, you know. And again, everybody
if it was
knows
Mary, I'd show up.
Right, right, of course. Obviously, everyone knows I'm Team Reed here, and I think I see where this is going, and I think people need to know that, you know, I think what this is going to end up being a year and a half from now, when we all look back on it, is one of the biggest true crime scandals that this state has ever seen, ever. You know, so we'd love to, you know. It's just really hard for us to go out and say, we know this 1,000%, you know what I mean? And smear someone. If you don't have it, even if you're 99.9, where I'm at right now, you just still can't do it. You're cheating everyone. So
I want to respond to just so what Mrs. Ash said, that he helped. I think she's talking about Proctor, but this would apply to also even say Ken Berkowitz or other people, that they helped because of Brian and Kevin and Colin. I don't buy into that, okay? Because the thing is, for me, you're not going to ruin your own life for that, for someone else's murder, unless it's like your kid, all right? So to me, there had to be something else as part. This is what bothered me since day one about this conspiracy, that there had to be something else there. And I think we're getting warm on this. And I think a lot of people talking behind the circles that are in a position to know, which I'm not. I'm just an old bartender, as I like to tell you guys. I'm not, but people are talking to us in the right places, and I'm trying to help them add the dots together a little bit. And I question things, so I'm like, all right, walk this back a step. How does this make sense? And it's kind of coming to get. So to me, it's basically someone will play ball if you have the power to destroy them. So if somebody issues you an order to do something corrupt, and if you don't do it, he's going to destroy you. You do it.
Right.
You know.
I want to answer somebody real quick, if we could. Really quickly. I'm sorry. Accountability matters. Was Gooley responsible for overdose deaths? I have no idea, but I'll tell you this. There's reports that we're getting that people would find him passed out, overdosed in his vehicle while on duty. I'm getting reports that guys knew where to pick up drugs at different gyms. He put in there different machines and things like that. And he was the guy who would take the prescription pills, turn-ins, and take them and sell them. And Colin Albert was one of his plugs. So these guys are sort of working together. And that's what we got.
You notice I in my reporting, I'm not even comfortable saying his name. I mean, he's a kid, so I just say the nephew. I mean, I don't really like calling out names unless I feel pretty sure. But I was willing to call out Rob Gooley because just too many sources on it that confirm it.
And Colin Albert's 18 years old. I mean, he's a grown man, so I don't feel bad about that. You know.
No, I'm not sure. As soon as we have something extremely solid, I will have no problem saying his name. So I have no problem with you saying it on the channel. It's just my own hesitation. I'm just giving an insight into my own hesitation. I really want to be careful about smearing anybody, whether it's Karen Reed or Jen McCabe or anybody else. You know,
Colin Albert can join the military and go fight. He can go buy a pack of cigarettes. Maybe. I don't even know what the age is anymore. So,
but he's not charged with anything. So, I mean,
right.
But it is pretty well sourced, or very well sourced now. That John O'Keefe called.
Yeah.
And this is sourced to a Canton cop.
Yeah. And by well sourced, Kevin means, and I want to tell you how well sourced, by somebody who was present for the conversation. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yes. They were sitting right next to it when the call came in. That's what we're told by a pretty high level source. Kevin, why do you question the theory?
He shouldn't. I love Kevin. He's my partner, but he shouldn't.
The validity of the Google search, because, well, I mean, I don't want to keep repeating this stuff, but that's what goes on in trials. Each side will bring in experts. Take a medical trial, okay? I've been on the jury for 2 of these, and somebody is suing somebody else for damages, and that's the plaintiff. and they're saying some negligence on somebody else's part led to injuries. And they will go and they'll hire lawyers, and their lawyers are sharks. They know which doctors to hire. And so this comes up in both the trials I've been on. It's not that the doctor's not a qualified doctor, but then they'll ask him, how many trials have you testified? 72, 8 in the last year. How much did you get paid? And they listen. So these are guys that are earning a living aside from their medical practice. And some of them maybe don't even have much of a medical practice left. They're earning a living doing testimony and trials for the plaintiffs. So that's what you have to be careful about here. So I don't know anything about Richard Green or his company. I'm just saying I know for a fact that he is someone the defense hired. And that alone, to me, puts it on one side. So you have two experts on one side, experts on the other. No one's in the middle. That's all I'm saying, Dave.
Yeah. And I totally appreciate everything you're saying, brother. I'm just telling you guys now, again, I'll rehash it for 30 seconds. I studied digital forensics in school. I thought I wanted to go to the FBI, so I figured I better get my degree in it. Instead, I didn't join the FBI. I'm just a lonely sheriff's department. But I know how data collection works. A search at 2:27 a.m. is a fucking search at 2:27 a.m. It's not like a 4-hour block or the tab was held open, as I've heard some people suggest. It's just that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. So,
did you see the little thing that Turtle Boy showed last night? It was late. It was, but he had.
Is that with the TikToker?
Yeah.
Oh, give me a fucking break.
It doesn't mean anything to me because, again, it's just somebody on YouTube or TikTok. I mean, but I don't know. It's hard to know. Anyway, so we'll move on.
There's one very interesting thing I'd love to hear your thoughts on, Kevin. I'd love to hear the audience thoughts on it. And that's the last thing I'm going to say on data. I don't want to argue with you, Kevin, but I'm just telling the listeners. I'd never practiced digital forensics in the field.
Yeah.
But I did enough capstone and everything to get my degree in it. A 227 search is a fucking 227 search. It's not 228. It's not 226. It's 227. Thank you. Anyway, I was kicking this around with somebody today who's really in the know. And the prosecution is going to try and smear Karen Reed. They don't have any evidence. So they're going to put her and they're going to try and smear her character. Okay? And they're going to try and rough her up. And I'm concerned and I'm curious what you think about the 56 pages of text messages between this kid from the ATF, Higgins, and Karen Reed. I just can't make heads or tails of that right now.
It's very hard. I also don't. Do you know when those text messages came? Did it come that day or some other time?
I don't know. I just, we were talking about it today, and I was like, I got to talk about this live and see what the people have to say, see what you have to say.
I don't want to speculate without knowing more. I mean, they may have known each other.
They had to have known each other.
Yeah, I mean, so, a lot of times these women that date cops, they date other cops. I'm not saying she dated Brian Higgins. I have no idea, but know, she'd only been dating John O'Keefe for 2 years. I'm told that she may have dated him like also 20 years before that, before their careers took them in different paths. I don't really know. Nothing wrong with dating cops.
No, I agree.
That's just works for you, right?
I said half the reason why women even look at me sometimes is because I'm out in uniform. So I get it. If I was a plumber, they probably wouldn't talk to me. So.
Don't worry, buddy. You got that charisma. They would still talk to you.
I'm just curious as to see, what the people think of that, because that's something that's going to come up. And are they going to try and, well, I guess we should tell the people too, if they don't know, I think Higgins was really into from everything I'm told, and multiple women have reached out, and I know multiple women have reached out to some of our sources, and our sources have spit that back. That's Higgins and these guys were into the swinger lifestyle. So is it possible that maybe they were trying to, I don't know. I don't know why that matters, but that's going to come up at trial. Yeah, that's going to come up at trial, and it's something that they're going to have to contend with because they don't have any evidence. So they're going to have to, try and dirty her up, Higgins did have an office at CPD, but that's not uncommon. You ask anybody in law enforcement, these task forces exist everywhere. I mean, at the sheriff's department here in Bristol County, we have offices in New Bedford, Dartmouth, and they're all part of task force that do gangs and things like that. So specifically where I'm at, it's gangs and drugs. So for an ATF guy to have an office in Canton PD, that's not strange.
I'm told he was pretty close to Chief Berkowitz. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, I've also heard the same thing, that he was very close to Chief Berkowitz. So
what do you think about that call that Berkowitz made to Higgins, who strangely punched in at 1:30 a.m. right after the party? What do you think about that call? And I don't know the exact time on it, but we know it came before Brian testified that Brian called up Higgins to say that we found John on the lawn. So do you read anything into that call? Are we reading too much into it, or is it just coincidence? I guess there's no way of knowing, but
I don't know. But I go back and forth on Higgins, because part of me thinks he might have blown the whistle here. He might have actually blown the whistle.
People think that.
Yeah. And part of me thinks he's totally in on the cover up. And, you know, I was talking to someone today and we were kicking back and forth the possibility. I mean, did Higgins go to work at 1:30 in the morning normally? I'm hearing no. So was he going back to work to download his notes from the night?
Mm-hmm.
Was he? I don't know. Was he wearing a wire? I don't know. One thing that the feds are really good at, above all, is getting wiretaps.
That could and that could predicate the investigation if somebody was wired for something else, and then I don't know. That's why I don't know. What do you think about the idea that there was already a federal investigation that just got absorbed into?
I couldn't agree with that theory more. I mean, that is what happened. I think that what happened was there was already a federal investigation ongoing. Some agency, I don't know. I have my thoughts, but I'll leave it here for now. And these guys stumbled upon a fucking murder while doing wiretaps. I don't know. And here we are. I know the FBI has been in town. We know the FBI has an image problem. The best thing the FBI could do right now is hook these guys. I'm talking everybody. I'm thinking Lally. You name your Albert, including the kid. Jen McCabe, who's like, mean girl number one here, and they all need to get hooked, booked, and sent away for a long time. And they need to go out and do a press conference in front of the people and say, we realize there's a lot of corruption in this city. We fired every fucking officer right now. We have an academy, or everyone that was dirty. We have an academy that's going to run in 2 months. Give us your fucking job applications. Let's go. And we're going to put a new chief in, and we're going to rebuild this fucking city. We're going to make Turtle Boy mayor. That's great. Whatever they're going to do. But they need to clean house on everybody and show the people of Massachusetts, because, we're just all friends here who don't like this. That's why we're involved in this one. That guy said, oh, you're off Turtle Boy's coattails. Now, number one, I'm the biggest turtle rider on planet Earth. I've been with him since day one. And number two, we're very concerned about this case. That's why we're here. Not for subscribers or anything like that. Me and Kevin do, if you watch the channel, we do so many different cases, so I don't know why I'm going back to that, but who cares? And so yeah, that's what needs to happen. What needs to happen is a fucking bulldozer needs to come through that town and just knock everything over.
That's, like I said, we have a documentary shoot that we're starting Tuesday, and I've got so much going on related to that. I don't really have time to be taking all these constant calls and messaging related to this case, and I'm trying to answer them all. Yeah. I just wish, I was really wishing Turtle Boy would come out with everything that we were thinking or hearing last night. Like, all right, now I can just move on. We can have a fun chat today, and and I would send what we had to Turtle Boy, but there's reasons we can't. So if I had a document, I would show it. I would send it to Turtle Boy. Let him do the breaking news stuff. Let us do the analysis. We didn't have anything that we could send, and we have our sources, and they have their reasons for wanting to go through us. So that's just how we want to play it, So,
and real quick, just to using Karen as a deflection off of himself. Karen Reed is Lee Harvey Oswald in this. She's just cannon fodder. She's a patsy, and they thought that they were going to be able to do it and get away with it, and unfortunately, it's the wrong person caught wind of it who had a big enough audience, and here we are. Otherwise, they probably would have got away with it. I mean, look at Sandra Birchmore. Who talks about that? She's impregnated by a police officer, and then she turns up dead. And the guy's able to just move to Atlanta, and start working for TSA. No problem. Nobody has anything to say about it.
I just want to add too today. You bring that reminds me. So people have been joining up with us, and I got a message today from a retired police officer, Tom. He said, I'd like to go out with Dave and support any of his investigations in the field. So anybody out there that wants to help us, but especially people that have law enforcement experience or any other relevant experience, applying for FOIAs or whatever. There's all kinds of stuff that we can't do by ourselves, and the team is growing. And listen. A lot of people are getting mad because I don't just go all in right from day one on April 1st and say Karen Read is innocent. Listen, you'll be grateful. Maybe not on this case, but on some other case that I'm not like that. I'm careful. Dave, as you see, like Dave is more conspiracy guy. He takes it as a fact that Lee Harvey Oswald was a patsy. Me, I'm like, no, I mean,
stop it.
To me, I think Lee Harvey Oswald shot JFK. And, I've watched all that stuff back when it was like a cottage industry in the 90s. And when I saw the book, I read the book Case Closed and and I saw the supporting documentary on it. To me, it was like, all right, he did it, but who knows? Who knows? I mean,
can I answer a question real quick?
Yeah.
Casey Hannon Gibb, I know you're Team Karen all the way, and I appreciate that, but if you're wondering why John O'Keefe would want to leave to go to Canton PD, where he's going to make significantly less money than working in Boston, he's already passed his residency restrictions. So when you get on BPD, you got to live in Boston for 10 years, which sucks. But then once you get past the 10-year point, you can move wherever you want. He moved out to Canton. He's probably making a shitload of money. There's more details, more overtime, just more in the budget for BPD. So, I can't imagine that he would want to join Canton PD. I don't think that's a factor.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like when I had all these calls come in, a bunch of them at 5 o'clock. One of them was, I'm not going to say her name, but she's, a nice woman who I've met through the channel. And she was kind of having her own personal crisis. I was the only person she could think to call. And she's like, when you're on the show, you're always kind of balanced. You're not just automatically going to take one side, and you're kind of calm. So she's like, so all of a sudden I'm the last guy in the world that should be counseling anybody. But I was taking that call at the same time I was getting calls from Sean, from you, and text from other people. So I'm wearing more hats than I'm capable of.
Yeah. And Chris, I'm not sure, Chris McSherry, if you're trying to make points for the prosecution or what you're really trying to say, but I'm all ears as always. And I agree, AC, that residency requirement is very archaic. But you have to understand one thing: people would come in from all over the state. You'd have guys living out in fucking the middle of Pepperell working for Boston PD because the money's there, man. So, and they're serious about it. They will check and make sure that you have a sock drawer somewhere in Boston. I can assure you of that.
I say every night, I said last night when Elizabeth Proctor was on here, or someone pretending to be her. Look, anybody who wants to come on and argue this with us calmly, factually, what they know, the evidence they have, or grounded theories, come on. We're not here to present. We're not part of the Karen Read Defense Fund. We're here to try to present the truth, whatever it turns out to be. And right now, it does seem to look like there's an incredible conspiracy. And if there's a conspiracy, she's innocent. But I'm open to the idea that it might be something else. So, come on here. Talk about it. We're not going to shout you down. Come on here and let us know what you think.
Gotcha, Chris. I just didn't understand for a minute there. I'm not that bright. I went to community college, man. I'm only a University of Rhode Island graduate, bro. What does Burko gain from this? Money or hiding something else too? If you want my theory, what does he gain? His freedom, white paint. Just think of something right now. Just think of this in your head. Let's just say Chris Albert knows that Berkowitz has been running the dirtiest outfit in the country. And he goes down for murdering John O'Keefe. Don't you think that Albert might want to give that information up on the way down? And Berkowitz knows that?
That's the thing. I on the one hand, I look at his resume and I say, this is a guy who served his community with distinction for a long time. Very powerful guy with a lot of connections. What dirt does he have on other people? Probably an incredible amount. And what dirt do they have on him? I don't know. To me, that was what I suspect the FBI is really investigating. The FBI is not going to get involved investigating a petty cop drug dealer.
No,
So it's just not going to.
for the
And
FBI to get involved, there's got to be a chief or somebody who's dirty. Go ahead, buddy.
And somebody powerful enough to orchestrate this kind of conspiracy. And just to address what somebody said there, oh, you say you're not a conspiracy guy, but you're touting a conspiracy here. Well, conspiracies do happen. But, a conspiracy guy always connects those dots in some conspiratorial way. And I don't do that.
I heard the same thing when I wrote my book. And now every time they talk to me about the book, they go, wow, man, you were way ahead of it. You were way ahead of it. I hear that all the time, guys. All the time. Just wait. We'll be proven right. And then I'll have a non-alcoholic beer and you guys can drink.
I'll definitely be drinking. But that's what we're doing our documentary series on starting this Tuesday. We'll be doing the shooting, and it's based on the work of Dave and Melanie. But I still, even though the series is under my direction and my initiation, I'm still not fully convinced of Dave and Melanie's theory. And to me, it's a quest. Show me. Let's see what we can. And I would like to prove their theory is correct. I've seen enough to be definitely more than intrigued. And Dave gave me kind of a smoking gun message, a prison letter last week, which was really a wow moment. And I know there's going to be more that he has and that Melanie has. But I'm one of those guys who you have to convince me, and I'm always going to try to look at different sides.
Kevin, somebody asked, Kevin, are you still on the fence? And I'd love to know where you're at with that on the Karen Reed case.
I'm going to say officially yes, but I mean, I'm seeing some weird, I mean, we're also getting a lot more information here that we didn't report. And it all feeds the idea of that there was a conspiracy. So to me, it's almost so much information and I have to be certain of it all. And so, yeah, I mean, I lean strongly for a long time that Karen Reed was innocent, but so I lean even more that way now. But maybe some new information will come in tomorrow that will tie it all together in some other way. And I don't know. But so I want to always reserve that right to be in the back, trying to be sure until everything is really in. But no, I would say that there appears to be a pretty disturbing conspiracy that was going on down in Canton.
Guys, you have to know that the fucking evidence must be overwhelming to Kevin to make that kind of statement. So just real quick, white paint. Just because you added me, I want to find it because I want to answer you guys' questions. Where does Carl with a K fit into this? That's a great way to say it. I think he's just a dummy. I don't think he fits into it at all. Just a total, completely vapid idiot. Did you see the video that I shot of Turtle Boy confronting him outside of the Norfolk County Courthouse? If you didn't, you should see it. It's just fucking gold. They parked a mile away. We walked through like 3 residential neighborhoods, and I could barely get back to the courthouse. I literally had no idea where I was going. It's the middle of pouring rain. Yeah, he's a tool. He's a tool. He's just an idiot. He has no clue. And he'll be the same guy fucking when this thing comes to pass where it's just, he'll crawl back into his hole and, go arrest the wrong black guy again or something like that and cost the city $12,000. And I say that because I do have some anger with that because, and I usually keep myself away from being angry. It's just fucking odd the way he behaves. Just really odd. And I don't get it. Bob Lawrence, what do you mean? Can I tell some of the story? What do you got, bro?
Just want to say, someone named KMM says, don't want you on my jury, Kevin. Well, I'm wondering what you're on trial for, KMM.
You might want him on there.
Yeah, you might. I'll try to be fair, but if maybe that's not what you want, I don't know. But and then Chris McSherry has been kind of really, like a lot of people in this case do, fervently, I'm all nuts, I'm crazy, I must be some kind of cuckoo guy, just because I don't jump into the deep end. Well, I mean, listen, there are a lot of people out there that aren't commenting in chat that really appreciate this approach. Trust me.
I appreciate the approach because my emotions swing, and Kevin keeps me grounded. He's the best partner I could have asked for. And I wrote my book 2 years ago. I've been in true crime a long time, and I've never found anybody like Kevin because he keeps me. It's hard. I mean, I'm a fucking total maniac, and
I'm Scully.
He ropes me in, right? I'm the Mulder to his Scully. And real quick, I'm just trying to answer as much as we can here, guys, because we don't have a script for tonight, so we're just freestyling right now. Crazy ass shit going on in Canton. That's right, Michael Morris. Wonder if Carl knows some inside info. Like what? Like what is there? Carol Ann, my book was Monster, The Life and Crimes of Wayne Chapman, serial pedophile Wayne Chapman, the main suspect in the disappearance of 2 young boys in the 1970s. Do I think John talked to the medical examiner? Dave, do you think Berkowitz talked to the ME about John's case? Potentially. Maybe. Kevin's like my dad. He's like my dad too, Jenna.
I want to say, I just got a message from Richie, who works for Turtle Boy, and who took that video that we talked about, that I talked about in the open monologue. Dave has seen that video. Dave actually interviewed that same person down at the scene. She didn't want to go on live, and Dave was only doing live filming, so that's why she didn't go on. But Richie's the one that made the video, and he's the fantastic filmer editor for Turtle Boy. And he wanted to mention that Turtle Boy will be coming on soon. By soon, I'm not sure what day, maybe tomorrow or Tuesday. Tuesday's his regular show, so maybe then. And he's going to show that video. So tune in to see that video. And again, it kind of confirms what we've been saying about this cop in the Canton Police, Rob Gooley. But you know what? Listen, there could be just crazy people on the street to say stuff, right? But we have it sourced to much more than that. We have sources from inside the Canton Police. So you can trust us on that.
Just to be clear, Turtle Boy is going to post this video in its entirety, and I suggest that you don't miss this. Yeah. I suggest you don't miss this video, because this is going to really open your eyes to what the fuck is going on out there. He's on vacation, but he can. I'm sure he has someone who can jump on, and if not, wait till he gets off. You can anticipate, which is sometimes even better. Dave, I missed your theory on what happened. Can you tell it again? That's Bobby Lawrence. What I think happened is this. I'll be very quick. I think that was already a federal investigation going on into the dirty deeds of the Canton Police Department well before John O'Keefe was murdered. I think that there's a lot of things happening there, including police officers selling drugs and Colin Albert potentially being involved in that. And
we shouldn't say officers, though. We don't have that, do we? We just.
Well, we have Gooley,
but that's one. So that's just it's the plural.
I say officer.
And there could be more. I'm just saying we don't have any evidence in that, do we? Or do you? Or
I don't have any evidence of that.
All right.
I've heard some other things, but I don't want to say that.
Okay. All right.
And I think that the feds tripped over this murder, and I think they set Karen Reed up to be a patsy, because if Brian Albert went down, he would probably give a lot of people up to and including the chief. And I think that is an absolute non-starter for a lot of people who have a lot of power there. And I think that's how they started to get down the road of potentially framing Karen Reed, who was completely innocent for this. Mm-hmm. Dave, what is my thoughts on the ME report? Tracy, I've seen you ask that a couple times. Can you get a little bit more specific? Like what exactly? That's all. Go ahead, Kev. Sorry.
Oh, I forgot. I was looking through the comments too and looking at the messages coming in too.
Oh, just so you guys know, just got a text message. Turtle's going to upload that video tomorrow. So
so he's not going to do it live. He's going to just do it on his website.
Yeah, it's going to go on tbdailynews.com. TB Daily News.
Richie, can you guys do something to get Turtle Boy to get something different to host that website? My God, because I go there a lot. I go there every day now. Those pop-up ads are the worst thing I've ever seen. It's like, I swear, every time I go to that website, it takes takes time off my life. It's like, it's so aggravating.
We love you, Turtle. Yeah, Chris Correa, who do you think snitches first? I think somebody's already snitched. Maybe Higgins. I don't know. You would think by now that, I think I said this last night, I think, and you guys know I work in the prison system. I work at the sheriff's office, and I know what Brian Albert's life's going to be like if he goes down for this. He's going to be locked like a dog in solitary confinement, and I don't think he ever goes to jail. So,
why do you think he ever goes to jail?
I just think he knows what he's in for. Kevin, he's never going to see. I mean, he's going to have a fucking payphone wheeled to him. His life is going to be a 6-inch slot, literally, where he gets all of his meals. The phone will get passed through it, his mail.
But why doesn't he go to jail? I'm not sure.
I just think I could see him going out in a bad way.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. Now I understand what you're saying. I didn't understand. All right, I got you. You're saying if he's convicted, he's not going.
I don't even think he ever sees a court.
Yeah, if he looks like he's going to be convicted, he'll. I see what you're saying.
I don't think we ever get that satisfying moment of the judge putting it down. I don't think so. From all I know about his personality type and what he knows that I know, and he knows what it's going to be like when he finally hits ground. I mean, he's going to he'll be dying to get with the snitches and the child molesters and PC. I mean, his life won't even be that good. His life is going to be so fucking bad for eternity. And if this is a Fed case, so you guys know, he could potentially be looking at the death penalty for murder. And if it's a Fed case, he could end up with a fucking needle in his arm. So, and that's a lot to look at. Brian had a bad temper. Kimberly Elwood says that's what I've been told. I've been told that he had no problem punching other cops in the face and putting his hands on people in broad daylight. And Janice, I don't know how I lost your credibility. What question are you trying to ask me, ma'am? I'll answer it right now. The chat goes fast. And you guys should join Turtle Club. It's ad free. I'm a Turtle Club member. $20 a month.
So the website is ad free if you join the club.
It's awesome. It's so much better without the ads. It's faster. You get the live show on Thursdays.
I had to kill like 50 pop-up windows in one long article that I was reading today. So I go there, I read it a lot. So that's why I get like, so I recommend you guys go there. There's great information there, but it's like, wow, it's like a battle in there.
What treatment of Karen did we do? What was uncalled for? I'm just curious here. You call bullshit. Hey, Dave, I'm a URI alum too. Any truth to all the tools on Twitter that the state has the full library video showing Reed's car with broken taillight? If they do, why haven't we seen that? I mean, if they do, that's a totally different ball game, man. Show me, brother. I don't know. My state? What do you mean my state? Like the state of Rhode Island? Or I don't get that. I live in Rhode Island. My state doesn't have much on that, I don't think. And
Janet, I'm sorry. Janice says she calls bullshit. What is she calling?
Yeah.
He
talks about Higgins. Ma'am, if you heard anything that I said that they're going to try and assassinate Karen Reed's character, and it's going to come up. So in our coverage of this, I wanted to see what people thought about it. They're going to bring it up. They have no evidence against her. So, and trust me, I'm not happy that I live in Providence or Mr. Cheesecake. I'm not from here. I'm from Boston, but I'm from Dorchester. I'm not a big fan, but it just worked better for my life. The FBI's already been in Canton, Angela. Well, Janice, I apologize. I'm a big supporter of Karen Reed. Big supporter.
Oats and Honey says I should get the free turtle as a colleague courtesy. So I don't think he's going to go for that. I might have to somehow get him some special leads in some case or something. Then maybe, that could happen.
Yeah, I will not take any besmirching of Karen Reed in this chat. So rest assured, Janice, I'm on it.
We don't want to besmirch anybody in personal stuff. We just, that's not what we're about. I mean, sometimes you end up doing that if it's in terms of the criminal liability. But in terms of somebody's personal life, how they live beforehand or outside of this case, I don't want to get into it because you're getting into rumor shit and none of us is perfect.
Right.
So it's not worth doing it. I mean, none of us would want their lives put under a microscope, especially if you're going back, all the way to
it's Monster, The Life and Crimes of Wayne Chapman. Monster, The Life and Crimes of Wayne Chapman. Really quickly, Dave, don't apologize. I'm in North Pro. I just want to answer you guys as much as possible. Jeez, do you guys think that Jen McCabe Googled that information without anybody knowing? I don't know. Did they all sit around and decide to? Jen McCabe can't be that bright. We live in an age of, I mean, how many times do we see cell phones solving cases? It's like every one of them nowadays, and she still Googled it and thought she could just, I mean, what a boomer thing to do. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, Jen McCabe's a fucking idiot, and she deserves everything she gets. Monster, Life and Crimes of Wayne Chapman, not The Life and Crimes of Dave. Wayne Chapman. She was at home. We live in East Providence now. Hey, we're close, Casey. We're very close.
I'm putting the banner up there, guys.
Where's
Normally, you can also, obviously, if you're on YouTube, send us a little gift. 100% of anything you send us goes towards the documentary we're shooting, which has nothing to do with the Karen Reed case. So anybody that wants to give us something, it's much appreciated. We think there's a good chance that you'll see this documentary series eventually on HBO or Netflix or something like that. We feel pretty optimistic. So you're putting it towards a good cause, and a good cause in other ways too, because there are definitely truths to be unearthed there.
Okay.
And go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'm just. It's my inner monologue. Go ahead. Sorry. Real quick, I just want to answer Will McLaughlin.
Yeah.
I know you tried to ask several times, buddy. Thank you for staying in. He's misspelled all the names. Have you watched any of our other live streams where I absolutely shredded Michael Proctor and anybody else involved? His sergeant, his lieutenant. How the fuck could you do that? That's not possible. And I agree. The only point I was making is that the reason why he showed up to the scene is because he was actually working that night. And I know how, it's just how that works, man. But I mean, you ain't lying. That is fucking strange. And he has to answer for that, because I know when I submit reports, and any deputy, CO, or police officer in this chat right now, I mean, when I submit my reports, I get 56 freaking things back saying, with red marker on it, saying, fix this, fix this, fix this. If one fucking thing's out of place, and this is going to go to a court of law that could put a woman away for 15, 20 years, and just blatantly, it's a clown show. And that has to be answered for. That has to be answered for under oath.
Luann, thank you for the gift of $5, and we'll probably should just give it right back to you, since you are on the team, and we should be paying you for your work, your research. But thank you very much. We appreciate it. It's all going to the documentary series, and so we need to upgrade some equipment. There's some things we still want to do to get ready for it, but everything is going to go into that. Actually, we're going to need bug spray Tuesday, because we're going to be out in the woods. So
thanks, Nick.
Nick, man, thank you. Appreciate it. Very much appreciate it.
Barbara, if you missed what I said, all I was asking is what people's thoughts were on the text messages between Karen Reed and Brian Higgins. That it's going to come up in court. They're going to try and assassinate her character because they have absolutely no evidence. You have to understand, what evidence do they have right now? I'm saying right now, something could come out tomorrow, change the whole fucking thing, and I'll sit here with egg all over my face, and we'll all go, shit, we've been had. I don't think that's going to happen, but I could, maybe. Thank you, Patty. That's amazing.
Jesus, thank you, Patty. That is, man, you can come down with us, and we'll buy you breakfast, and then you can come down and watch us shoot. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Can we talk about? I mean, I don't know. I think this lady is fucking scary, man. The only thing that scares me about this entire thing is the fact that Beverly Cannoni is the judge, and I'm really disgusted with judges. Yeah, thank you, Colleen.
Thank you, Colleen, so much.
I'm disgusted by judges. They have lifetime appointments, and it's everything that's wrong. And you see the people who get let out in this state, and
the character assassination is definitely another disturbing part of the case, because if you're charging Karen Reed, well, first of all, even if you think that Karen Reed did this, if the prosecution, she should be charged with manslaughter. I mean, clearly it's a scene of doing something that you didn't know that you did. They're charging her with second-degree murder. They're trying to, it's unintentional, but that she knew that she did it. And so that's why they feel they have to assassinate her character and describe how she was in a fight with her boyfriend, or things were bad. I mean, shit, things are bad in every relationship. You can always find those moments like that. It's stupid. I also think it's crazy to try to look at witness statements or descriptions of witness statements. It's not like these things are on video. It's someone's description of how Karen reacted at the scene. I mean, first of all, her reaction seemed normal to me. She was hysterical. Yes, she was
totally normal. Totally normal.
I mean, and if she's saying, did I hit him? What guilty person would do that? It doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
So, never. I mean, I don't really understand. But, to me, it's like none of that matters. What matters is the physical evidence. And to a certain degree, the physical evidence that's backs up other witness statements. Thank you, Brittany.
Thanks, Britt. At that point, she's doing what we call utterance. She's uttering and it's totally normal. Should have been dismissed. And and now that's going to be the key thing. You're going to hear this the whole trial. Well, she said she did it. She's been drinking. She's hysterical. Her boyfriend's lying on the ground dead. She's saying, running around saying, I'm going to kill myself. She got sectioned that night. Those are just utterances. They make no sense. The prosecution's going to run with that like crazy, and it's going to be fucking stupid. It's going to be funny to see. And another thing, too, is that if she was guilty of this, if she just did this and it was no cover-up or any of that, she might not even been looking at jail time. I mean that. I mean, depending on how drunk she was, she's got a clean record. It's a manslaughter case. There's plenty of case law out there. People hitting someone on accident, getting manslaughter, and getting 10 years probation or 15 years probation, 20 years, supervision. So, that trial, I mean, Muffy, it's going to be, I plan on, hopefully, I'm leaving the sheriff's department in a week. I'm going to work at a private investigation firm. And I hope that thanks, Erica and Bev.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it so much.
I hope my schedule allows me to be there and cover it live every day for you guys.
And I think Laura gave us one too. Laura, who is here. Yeah, Laura, thank you so much. Laura is one of Turtle Boy's moderators, I think would be the way to describe it. And she actually is in London. She's in London. That's why it says she got a 5-pound sticker. So we actually got some pounds today. How cool is that?
Awesome.
To get some pounds before the game.
Thank you, Carol.
My brother's wife is from England. So even though we're Irish on this side, we have nothing against the Brits. We love the Brits.
And I haven't cared about the Brits since 1776. So let's go down to Laura. Love you, Laura. Really quickly, we got 1,000 people in, so I want to answer as many as we can. We're here with you guys. It's Sunday night. I don't know. You got anything to do, Kev? I'm sorry. I don't want to speak for you.
No. I mean, it's been a stressful day because, I mean, to me, it's so important to me to get this stuff right. I can tell you for sure there are people watching this at various law enforcement, federal agencies, different that. And I don't want to come out here and report something that's wrong. I don't want to smear somebody. So I'm getting information back and forth all day. Well, you can't go with this. This is, this has to be protected. This is not quite confirmed or this and that. Oh man. So, it's like, that's kind of stress. Like, what do we do? We almost canceled the show a few times because we didn't want to go on with anything that we weren't sure of. So we just went back and forth. What can we be sure of? And what can we feel we're on solid ground for? So this is the way we chose to report it. And there's some of it, and I said in my starting monologue too, a lot of this stuff it's certain. No, it's well sourced. To me, it's not certain unless there's a video showing it, because it's possible you have multiple sources that are just for some reason not telling you the truth. But so I would describe it as well sourced, that there is funky stuff going on at the Canton police. Oh, hey, maybe Karen Reed did back into this guy and there was a federal investigation going on, right? Who knows? I mean, and maybe there's aliens involved and who knows? But I mean, anything is possible. We're going to keep an open mind to just about everything.
Just lightning round real quick of questions. White paint. Dave, do you think the marks on his arm are from the dog? Yes, I do. Shelly, forensics on the phone does not lie. It's as clear as the blue sky. The sky's either blue or it's not. It's black or it's white. There are no gray areas in digital forensics, period. Ireland is in the house. That's right. I'm from County Cork. I'm 100% Irish. Do you think Proctor will be the Annie Dukin of MSP when this is over? Do you get that reference?
It sounds familiar, though. What is it, Andy Dugan? Is that what you said?
Dukin? I don't get that one.
Oh, Dugan? I don't know about Dugan. There was a guy, Dugan. Who was he involved with recently? I can't remember. Too many cases in my head. So actually, if you want to take a moment away from this, Dave, so you're working with a researcher now that contacted us through the channel about a certain case. I know it's early on, but it's a case you already know a lot about. And I think we've maybe talked about it. But you want to go into that?
I do know Annie Dukin, and you're right. You just jogged my memory with that, pal. Yes, I do. Actually, I could see that happening.
Thank you, Giovanni, and thank you, Audrey.
Thanks, Aubrey. Not to get away from this because I know you guys are hot on this right now, and I don't want to let it go because I feel like you guys have a lot of questions and we should answer them because we talked a lot about some of the news that we have, and I feel like we need to also answer for that when we say things. A lot of people reached out to me about the disappearance of Sandra Crispo, who disappeared in Hanson, and I'm working on it. I got more going. I was contacted tonight by somebody who's a police, who's two investigators who are currently on the job and have their theories and want to talk to me about it. And it's moving like super fast, lightning fast. So I'm probably going to write the first story about it on yellowcottagetales.com, which is our new website, which is up and running right now. So
Nicholas Rocco, who put up the 2 tickets,
Bloods and Solo Cups.
I couldn't when he sent me that image a few days ago, I couldn't find a way to make it work, so I had to actually make a video for it, the contact information. So I put that up there so you can find it on the channel. But that is the game. Is the game August 1st? No, the game will be on a Thursday. So all right. So the contest, the chance to buy those tickets ends on August 1st. So you can find information on that. Like if you go look to my videos from a few nights ago, it's like a 2-minute video. Just watch that, and it's got all the information in there. I'm not sure if we can give people any other way to reach it. Maybe you can post a link there if there's something. There wasn't a link at that time. Maybe Nicholas, you can post a link there. But again, thank you very much for all your generous work. Very generous work, Nicholas.
Yep, Chase, I see it, and I'm going to come to your town soon, Chase, and we're going to talk to some locals about the disappearance of Sandra. And
Semolina made a donation too, and I'm sorry, I just didn't see it. I really apologize. Sometimes the chat moves really fast. Dave, I didn't mean to interrupt you. We appreciate all the people who made these donations. We don't think we've earned your time. Okay, not for money. Okay, we're not entertaining. I don't juggle. I make drinks. I don't think Dave sings.
No.
So, but this is going towards what we think is going to be a very good documentary. And actually, you know what we should do, Dave? Is there a way we can print up a list, do you think, of all the people that donated to this? So we'll have that.
Just we'll go back in the live chats and look at all the donations, and we'll write them down. We'll send them a note. If you, I'll send you a signed copy of my book. If you're interested in true crime, and those of you in the chats who have read my book, Erica, thank you for the $5. You think the judge really is close to the other party that was talked about? I just want to answer your question because you donated, ma'am, and I don't want to overlook you. That was talked about. Yeah, I mean, they have Venmo transactions between the two of them about renting a Cape House. Coincidentally, Beverly Canone has a Cape House. There's a lot of smoke there. That's fucking weird. Only in the most corrupt banana republic on earth would she be able to remain on as judge. Yet here we are. Sorry, Kev. Go ahead.
No, I want to repeat the Semolina 23, because I really hate missing someone that's going to do anything nice for us. I mean, you could send us a quarter, and I'd be like, thank you. I just can't believe you made the effort. But I also want to say, Dave, as these messages keep coming in, someone just contacted me to say my husband is retired from Boston Police, and he's also willing to help Dave out with anything, any investigation. So they just keep coming in now every day.
One of the dumbest things I did, and when I did my book, it was #1 again yesterday, guys, because of you, and I really appreciate it. I couldn't appreciate it more. I couldn't sleep last night. I was so full of just happiness over that because I worked so hard on it, but I did it for 6 years. I worked on that book, and I did it all alone. And in retrospect, it would have been better if I had some crack researchers with me who really cared about the case. And I'm never going to do that again. Like from here on out, I'm going to do it where I have people who can really get the ducks in a row for me, So thank you. Michelle, thank you. $10. Really appreciate it, ma'am. Really appreciate it.
The thing is when you were doing that, you were working full time, doing that on the side, and had a family. So you still have obviously the great family, but in a couple of weeks, you'll have more free time to kind of dedicate yourself to that. And this will be reflected in your next book. So
it'll be even better. And I'm going to drop the Amazon link and I'm going to link the ebook. And the reason why I'm going to link the ebook, guys, is because it's free right now. If you have Amazon Prime, I have a deal with Amazon that you can get it for free,
or Kindle Unlimited too.
If you have Amazon Prime,
I have Kindle Unlimited. I don't have
Kindle
Prime.
Unlimited.
Yeah, I use somebody else's Prime if I need it, but I read it for free. Sorry, Dave, I read it for free. But I read it twice.
And,
so you probably do some kick back to you from Amazon.
Right. Yeah, I will, and I really appreciate it. And what was I going to say? Thanks, Paula. My kids are very, 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 very they're daddy's boys, man. They're daddy's boys. Couple more I want to answer. I just saw one. Yeah, I think Bev stays on Giselle. I think she stays. I can't. I don't think they're gonna get rid of her. The bartender's being a cheapo. Yes, he is. That's how my boy kept his money. You know. Where is all the evidence in the Reed case that hasn't been tested? Where's possession of it? Like what? Like give me an example. I don't know. I don't know what evidence.
Someone is saying the PayPal isn't working. They're asking if we have a Venmo. We don't have a Venmo, and I don't know why the PayPal wouldn't be working because it just worked recently, but I'm sure it's something that I did. You know, I haven't made any changes to it, but I don't know. This technology stuff can be crazy sometimes. Thank you, AK.
AK, I see that you wrote a question. Love the show. Longtime viewer. Dave, take a look at the Charlotte Lester case in Warwick. John DePetro does a great job of it. I will. Usually I can spit a lot of facts about most New England cases right off the top of my head, but I don't know Charlotte Lester. So when I don't know a case, especially, I get supremely interested in it because I love underreported cases.
Can we assign someone to that?
Yeah, let's Erin. My girl Erin, she's a bulldog. I'm sure she's out there somewhere. Get on the Google machine and find some stuff about Charlotte Lester if you're not busy with the kids. Because you're not that busy. We know you only got 2 kids and a full-time job. Huh?
Just enough to get us going, you know, and we're not trying to make everybody, you know, write a book for us. We understand that it's just doing their spare time, but we appreciate whatever you can get, you know.
There she is. That's my girl right there in the comments. Will Higgins get in trouble? Jenna, I don't know. If he blew the whistle, probably not. He'll end up looking like a hero. If he's complicit in it, then he should go to jail for the rest of his life. And I hope that they take John O'Keefe's cuffs and cuff him with them. I hope they do. And I hope it's live on television.
Let's see. Someone just sent me a email about this. I'm going to read it. I'm not sure if I'm going to read it out loud. Let's see. Go on, Dave, for a second. I got to read this because this may not be something I can say out
loud. It seems obvious, but his medical professionals confirm that John's injuries are definitely not the result of being backed over, more likely a dog attack. Which injuries? I mean, the bites on his arms or the big smash in the back of his head or the 2 swollen eyes? Which injuries do you think would be by a woman backing up a Lexus at, you know, a very slow rate of speed and hitting him? She can go over him. So,
yeah, this is just, and this is from one of our regulars. Doesn't want to be identified. Just saying that she has good information. Connecting. I'm going to rephrase this. Connecting Higgins and Karen Reed on a personal level. Again, I can't confirm that.
I know. I believe I know who that source is, and we talk. It could be a different one, but I've heard some other things too. None of them.
How would you think that ties into this case, Dave? Just curious. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I don't know if it does, but I think it paints an overall picture of. You know, I don't know if it's relevant at all, Kevin. If it's just more.
Wouldn't it make it unlikely or less likely that Higgins would conspire against her or not? I don't know.
I don't know because I mean, it could go either way. I mean, if they were really connected and close to each other, then don't you think that Higgins might blow the whistle? And, you know, or maybe they had some issues and he was absolutely in on it. I mean, it could go either way.
We can't really rule out, too, that some of these people involved in this, in law enforcement, or just involved in it at some level, people are human beings, and some people do have a conscience, and they may start out even getting involved in something and then later on have a pang of conscience where they say, you know, I don't want this person to go to jail for something she didn't do, you know. So there may be complications in some of the people involved.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to know more. I mean, we'll have to, you know, more will have to come out about Higgins. But I just learned that for the first time today, that those two were connected in any way and had messages between each other, pages and pages. I didn't even know that. I mean, I had no idea about that. And, you know, I learned some other things. You know, Karen Reed and John knew each other for years, long time ago. They just recently reconnected. You know, they hadn't been together for a very long time. So you know, I mean, they're just new relationship. It's not like we're talking about a relationship that's been going on for, you know, they're 10 years and maybe they're close to marriage, you know. And I don't know how relevant that is, or it's more for just, you know, to paint the overall picture, you know. It is crazy, Audrey. It is.
Dave, before it slips away, take a look at the comments. Should we read that out, what Victoria said, or not?
Let me see.
And it could be crucial information, but it's just someone on the chat. So I don't know.
Victoria, I'd love to know how you know that. You know, I'm not touting you, ma'am, in any way, shape, or form, but we have a lot of shit thrown at us every day. And some of it, I mean, you look at 90% of it is just gossip and silly neighborhood shit, and 10% of it is shit that we should look at, you know?
I mean, that could be very, very true, and it could really explain a lot here. But, you know, especially considering all the other stuff we talked about that's going on there. So we would definitely like to firm that up with a little more evidence if you have any. And so thank you, though. Appreciate it.
Janice, I'm not trying to redefine Karen's relationship. I don't know a fucking thing about it. I'm just simply telling you what I know, and that's all I know. So I'm not trying to redefine it. As far as I know, they were madly in love. I'm Team Karen, so you know. I'm not biased in this at all. This woman was framed, and people need to go to jail for the rest of their lives. I don't know how I could
DAA for the. Sorry, I just want to be thanking people as a. Thank you, DAA, for the contribution. Go ahead, Dave.
I don't know how I could be more clear about that. I just don't know how I could be more clear about that.
All of that a question about discovery, and my understanding is at this point both sides have all the discovery stuff. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but people know what discovery is. That's the evidence that's compiled beforehand. That doesn't mean something new couldn't come out. Obviously, the black box data supposedly just came out last month. Oh, and actually the hearing last week, they're still talking about evidence that hasn't, for instance, the DNA evidence, things like that. And some of this stuff is complicated. So you can say why some of the stuff, there might be an explanation for why the prosecution hasn't released the evidence. Because if you have a limited amount of DNA evidence, in order to test it, you have to have both sides agree on how it should be tested and by whom. And so those involve negotiations, and those negotiations can take years. And that seems to be what's going on here in some of this stuff. There's still negotiations regarding Karen Reed's phone. This goes to the people that are a little suspicious of Karen, but supposedly they still don't have access to her phone data. They have her phone, they don't have the data, and the reason is because she was smart enough to call her or text her a lawyer early, and so that puts her phone under attorney-client privilege, and they're still negotiating that. So I don't know. That's why we want to be open to everything, all the information that comes in.
Yeah, I'm just reading some comments. So you're the only one that I'm not saying you're a troll. Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks, Kathy.
I'm just saying that we're trying to get every fact. And I think somebody mentioned it. I'm not trying to redefine their relationship. What I'm saying is maybe John and Karen weren't 100% in a committed relationship. So her text to somebody like Higgins may not, she's talking to men in her life. We all do that, right? And not much to make of.
Dave, I'm sorry. I have to respond to this. I don't mind the constant hostility of the people that are so sure that Karen Reed is innocent that they never question anything. So he says, yeah, and he's always speaking in caps. All right. I got to roll back. Yeah, because it exonerates Karen. Why, Kevin, why do you always second guess Karen, but always cover up for the judge and prosecution? What in God's name are you talking about?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, did you hear my opening monologue that formulated a conspiracy? You had to have missed it. I mean, there's no, otherwise you wouldn't say that. What have I defended? I haven't even mentioned the judge's name. And I've criticized the prosecution many times, and I've never defended the prosecution. Their behavior is unethical at best, sloppy and shoddy and weird at worst. I mean, why does the prosecution insult our intelligence when they try to explain the health app data by saying, well, John's phone moved after he was pronounced dead? Well, obviously that was the cops picking it up. I don't defend the prosecution. Are you kidding me? Or the state police with the state police lab that can't seem to get the evidence out in a timely manner? I don't defend them. I question some part of this narrative because what I see here is a crowd, okay? And you should always mistrust the crowd. There was a crowd dynamic that goes on. It's human beings are very different when a crowd forms, and it's very easy to I've been like that since I was a kid. I see all the crowd pointing to that kid in the corner and say, look at him. I say I want to go protect that kid. All right, that's just the way I've always been. I don't trust the crowd, and so it's not that the crowd is wrong here, but there's a certain instinct to me that mistrusts it just enough to say, let's stand back and ask some other questions. That's it. I'm not defending the judge. I don't know anything about the judge.
I mean, all I know about the judge is that she behaved bizarrely in the Michael Chestnut trial, for those of you who have been following that. And, and she refuses to recuse herself, even with the overwhelming evidence that she might have potentially rented out her cottage to someone involved in the case. So, I mean, it's just fucking, at the very least, if she believed in justice, if she believed in the Constitution, she would say, it looks bad, I'm going to back up. Why haven't you? I mean, it's weird. It's very strange, and makes me think even more that, again, Karen Reed is an innocent woman, and she's being framed for the murder of John O'Keefe, and somebody killed John O'Keefe, and whoever did that needs to be brought to justice. So
I want to mention that one of the places we'll be doing our initial documentary shoot this Tuesday is actually at Bridgewater State Hospital, which me and Dave both kind of tend to call Monster University, Monster U. At least in the 70s it was. This was a place that they sent the sexually deviant prisoners, and these guys kind of went to school there. They got together, when the counselors think we're getting there and they're just putting them in counseling. But in reality, they're all just trading techniques and trading fantasies and just fueling each other. So I've never been there. Dave's been there. Dave has one of the main reason we're going there is because Dave has an incredibly compelling personal story related to that place. So we're going to try to get as close to the place that Dave had personal experience of. It was a fishing pond. If we can get there, we're going to film there. But if not, we're just going to film outside one of the gates. But this is going to be this will be a highlight of the documentary series, at least maybe in episode 1 to start out. And I think it's going to be a compelling part of the trailer, at least, that we used to pitch it. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that.
Appreciate it, guys. Really appreciate it. How many we got in, Kev?
Right now, 965. So this is the crowd that we have here, the viewers between Facebook and YouTube. I have it set up on the Twitter channel too, but I don't know if I don't really have a lot of Twitter followers. The channel doesn't either, so probably hardly anybody there, if anybody. So it's been consistently between 900 and 1100 for the whole show. So we haven't really lost.
Higgins doesn't look like somebody who would be in Karen Reed's league. Documentary is based on my book, which based around a child sex predator named Wayne Chapman, who was part of a child sex ring, responsible, in my opinion, for the death of 2 boys in the 1970s, along with many other boys who were sexually abused, sold around, and a generation of children were destroyed by this man and men like him. And
also Melanie's work too.
Story. Nobody knows the story. Myself and Melanie McLaughlin, who made a Emmy Award-winning documentary, are just about the only people who cover the story. So we're hoping to bring it to a bigger audience here in the near future.
Me and Dave both got inspired into this work by the same. We didn't know each other back then. By the same film documentary that was made by Melanie Perkins McLaughlin from Lawrence, Massachusetts. Originally, I'm from Lawrence. She's the same age as me. I didn't know her back then. And there was a kid, her childhood sweetheart, that was abducted at the state pool there. And when she grew up, she worked in film production, trained in that, went to school for it, and then worked in it. And when the time was right, she started her own investigation into this because she wanted Andy had been forgotten, and she wanted to bring this back into the public mind and reopen the case. And so for 30 years, she's been investigating this, bringing in a lot of stuff. And I'm sure for most of it or all of it, feeling by herself. Dave saw that film and he was inspired by it and started to do his own work. I think it awakened in him that he always wanted to do that anyways, because he has his own personal reasons for that, which he's talked about on the channel. And he'll talk about again. But then once he did it, he spread it out, going to chasing down every lead, going to Ohio and Detroit, Michigan, Florida, Pennsylvania, just chasing everything down to a larger number of cases. But they both have I think independently reached the same place in terms of their main theories and conclusions. And that is that some of these predators were working together and were protected by organized crime, possibly others. I don't know. Does that hit the nail pretty much,
Yeah.
Dave?
You know, I'm a writer, and I was the victim of childhood sexual abuse really badly when I was a kid. And I identify with these kids. I identify with most victims. I feel like my whole life I've just felt like, a victim, and anybody here will say the same thing. Any sexually abused kid never really gets past that, and I had a tough adulthood. I battled alcoholism. I battled every ism you can freaking think of until um, I met my wife and got my shit together with my kids and got to work. And I channeled all that negative energy really into the book and investigating. I've been all over the country investigating this sex ring, and it operated right out of Revere, right in some of your backyards. And outside of me and Melanie, nobody covers it. Nobody knows about it. And you're right, Paul. You never get past it, And the first thing I do when I look at myself in the morning is, when I look in the mirror, is I go, "You're the victim of sexual abuse." It just never gets past me. Above all, that's my identity, and I talk about it. I've talked about it in many, many places, especially here. And that's why I do it. I work in law enforcement, and I don't feel like, I make that much of an impact in my job. I just try to keep the peace. And I think my writing and our work here is much more important. So, and these guys exist. This existed. This happened. Little boys went missing. 40 children went missing between 1968 and 1982 in the state of Massachusetts. 40 of them.
Cases unsolved.
Unsolved. None of them. Not one family ever got another birthday, another Christmas. No answers. Police aren't going to help. You guys know. Police are completely corrupt. And I say that as somebody who wears the uniform. I mean, they're not the brightest among us,
I don't want to say that, though. I want to stop. I mean, come on. There's a tremendous amount of good cops out there. I've known a lot. Corruption goes on. I'm just saying there are a lot of good cops, don't you think, Dave? I mean, I personally know a lot. So
I don't
want to be a cop on
the channel. At the top, there's a lot of corruption. Okay, guys?
Yeah.
And I don't know much about, really quickly, I don't know much about the Braintree teacher, but you absolutely please reach out to me and talk to me about it. I chase down any pedophile, any pedophile story. I will chase down anywhere. And Casey, I think we are going to film eventually in Lincoln. And the reason why we will is because Wayne Chapman abused a lot of boys right in Lincoln Woods State Park. And a lot of my book, I spent a lot of time in that park researching. So yes, and it's about 10 minutes away from my house.
That'll be in the fall, hopefully.
And,
beautiful time to film there too. So
right, and it's a beautiful park. And unfortunately, Wayne Chapman destroyed a lot of little boys' psyches right there in that park. So congrats for being 11 years sober, brother. And just had meeting today. So,
and for me, the idea behind the documentary series is not just that the cases or the whole theory is compelling, and we want to see if we can prove it, or if we can at least move the ball further down the road towards proving it, but also the very compelling stories of Dave and Melanie. And, to me, I look at that, and there's just appealing characters. You guys, you don't know Melanie. We're going to have her on the show soon. But Dave, and he's an appealing guy, and he's gone through some really terrible stuff. And to me, that's a compelling subject for a documentary. So that's what we're going to do. And I just also, to me, it's funny, if you go back and look to my initial description of this documentary series back in May, when I first came up with the idea, it's centered on the idea of citizen investigators. And even though Dave is now in law enforcement, he wasn't when he started this case. And the research that he's been doing is not connected to any of his official work. Melanie's not in law enforcement. And you guys here on this channel, most of you who are looking into these cases are also citizen investigators. And so I think there's something powerful about it. And even that captures a little bit what Dave felt in Canton Tuesday. The public can make a difference.
I want to answer your question. Charles Bronson writes, do you think Chapman killed David Lewison? I'm from Brockton, and disappearing was found in a trunk. Terrifying. If you're interested in the Lewison case, I suggest you read my book. There's a lot in there. I spent a lot of time in Brockton. Yes, I do. I believe that Wayne Chapman and one accomplice killed David Lewison. Yeah, I absolutely do. And I believe there was a cover-up for when his body was found 6 years later, when Chapman was already in prison. I believe that Wayne Chapman made a deal to get the body back to the family and never, ever went on trial for the crime. I believe there was a cover-up.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what we've been on for an hour and a half, so let's give it, say, 5 more minutes and see what everybody else, if there's anything else we've missed that people want to talk about, because we got to do a lot of work, at least I know I do, to get ready tomorrow for Tuesday, and we're starting early Tuesday morning. All right, so let's see. Good idea, Jane.
Great idea, Jane. I planned on my goal before me and Kevin got together was to have a website dedicated to it. And we're going to do a lot of that at yellowcottagetales.com. It's about 40 missing kids in that time frame. And if you read my book, which again, I hate saying that, but it's tough for me to remember every last detail. Boys from Maine, Rhode Island, Connecticut had a real problem with little girls getting murdered. Back in the 1970s, real problem. Rhode Island and Massachusetts, and not a lot of answers out there. So it's,
I would say that absolutely the plan will be is if we can make this documentary series a success, and I think even before we start doing something like that, we want to make this larger than just New England, and we're going to develop the organization to start expanding these investigations, just one region at a time, bringing in other investigators, other people, citizens like yourself interested in true crime. Our main job is to bring attention to the cases, although Dave also does obviously a lot of investigative work, but he's going to need a lot of help. So anybody that wants to help us, we're looking for you.
We're always looking for more people to keep our ducks in a row. It's hard to know, and it's hard, excuse me. Sick tonight, guys. I'm sorry. It's hard to get everything. When you do these projects, it's like you're just never going to release anything if you chase down every last detail on your own. That's all. I missed 27 deadlines when I did my book. 27 deadlines because I kept saying I need more. Get the jail guard drug dealers locked up. Citizen, like who in Suffolk County. So like there isn't bad plumbers and bad car salesmen and presidents of the United States don't sell our country down the river just to make more money for their family. People do fucked up corrupt shit, right? I agree. They should all get locked up. Whoever does it, they should do it. I agree.
I want to say, guys, I don't really talk about this too much because I usually feel great, but I felt like shit all day today. I woke up that way and was obviously a little bit more stressed trying to go, but I feel better now. And I think the reason is you guys, just being there, having you guys there, supporting us, what we're trying to do. I don't know. It didn't even really think about it that way. But now that we've been on for an hour and a half, it actually makes me feel better. I feel like we're doing something that's going to matter. And I think you guys are going to be with us there to help us. And I think it's really important, the work. None of us is motivated by money. I can't even take any money in personally. It would screw up my health insurance. So
that's it. That's right. The only thing the reason everyone's like earlier, people were saying you're riding turtles' coattails. No, we cover the Karen Reed case because it matters. It matters that a man was killed, his life was cut down. And the people who are fucking despicable and disgusting deserve to go to prison for the rest of their lives. And just like it matters that a little boy named Andy Puglisi got ripped from his family in 1976, there were David Lewison in 1974, Lisa Boy in 1974, and all these other boys that we don't even know right now who are out there getting abused by some disgusting, despicable man or woman. And it all matters. That's why we cover it. It's not for subs. It's not for any of that. It's for the truth. The truth is the most important thing. That's what we're trying to get.
Wow, thanks, Victoria. Jeez. Thank you very much. I feel unworthy. Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you, Victoria.
And these guys, Go ahead.
And that'll be used tomorrow to get ready for this documentary. There's stuff we needed this for, so it's really appreciated and really going to be helpful. So thank you very much.
And just so you guys know, all my writing on that subject was about corruption. These guys got taken care of. They got covered up for, and it's the same thing. It's no different. That case is no different than the Karen Reed case. They covered up for them, and they let them go with measly on most occasions sentences, and little fucking kids got hurt because of corruption. And the same thing with this young girl who's getting hurt for corruption in this Canton case. And none of us should stand for it ever. So that's it.
Somebody just asked, it was AK, when is the next show? Do you guys have a set schedule, or is it every night? Well, here's the thing. I started doing the live ones every night a couple of weeks ago just to bring attention to the series that we're working on. Thank you so much, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
And that was the only purpose of it. But obviously, just more and more news has been breaking with the Karen Reed stuff, especially since the hearing Tuesday, that it comes to dominate everything that we're doing. My plan was for tomorrow night to be the last night that we do the live for a few days. We need a little bit of a break, and we'll be filming the documentary Tuesday. I'm not actually sure if we'll go on tomorrow, because we really have to get ready to get started early Tuesday. So we may be on tomorrow, we may not. And then Tuesday, it's possible. So Tom Fleming is kind of our station manager. He right now is at the Cape. He's from North Carolina. He's originally from Worcester, Mass. And he is right now in Brewster at the Cape. And so he'll be meeting us down here early Tuesday morning. And then after that, after the day of shooting, I'm going to go back and stay a couple of days with him at the Cape, and we're going to go over the footage and stuff like that. So we may do a live from the Cape. Oh, shit. Dave, are we meeting in Somerville tomorrow, or are you still coming up to that area tomorrow? Or
yeah, we'll talk about it offline for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So we may, I don't know. We either may do a show together in the same room, or we may just not do one.
I think it would be cool if we could get together in the same room and talk to you guys about whatever comes down the pipe tomorrow. So that's the goal.
That way, if I piss him off, he can punch me.
I would never touch you, Kevin. Ever.
I'm dead.
Maybe give you a hug, big kiss on that big bald head. How many do we have in? Just curious.
Still 865 in the combined chats. So, I mean, so much appreciate everything you guys did for us. And
do you want to go to 10 or no? You want to go to 10?
That's 17 more minutes. Do we have enough to talk about? Are we driving people crazy?
What do you guys got? What did Carl Dougal's brother die of? I have no idea. Did he die? If you need a hand filming in Bridgewater, I live 5 minutes from there. I'm down to help. Charlie, reach out to me, brother. Shoot me an email, bro.
And it's not even that we need a hand, but we welcome people joining us, and that's an area we're not really worried about. We'll be outside of a gate. So, I mean, legal to film there. So you're welcome to join us, Charlie. Get in touch with Dave and he'll tell you. We don't know for sure what time we're going to be there, though. That's the thing, because we're starting out in Lawrence and we're not sure what time that shoot is going to end. Our plan is to be in Bridgewater, I'd say hopefully at around 2, but it really depends on what goes on with Melanie, because she has some new information and a new location. We don't know if we'll film there Tuesday. It really depends on whether she wants to do that or if she wants to save it. It's entirely up to her. So if we don't, we should be able to get out of Lawrence by 12:30, I think, and then hit the road. Maybe hit a Burger King on the way. I don't know, but
Victoria, Sandra Crispo leads. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. That's all I can say.
Jennifer will be in Bridgewater Tuesday.
In Western Mass, but I can help. Thank you, buddy.
I don't know. I never heard of John having a partner. Did you ever hear anything like that?
I know he was really good friends with Pat Rogers, who was the guy who was on Boston's Finest, who ended up killing himself. Other than partners, I don't know. I would assume he would have one, but do you think the feds will dig up the yard? I hope so. I want them to do everything and anything they can to get information leading to the arrest and prosecution of whoever is in charge of this cover-up. When will the hammer be coming down in Canton? Fuck, that's the $64,000 question. $64,000. Usually these, if ever, right? If Beb Canone aware of the Fed case, from what I know about grand juries, they're usually sealed to everybody, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
Sealed to everybody. Dig up.
Yeah, you got to kind of look for the information indirectly. So, for instance, what's the FBI presence in town? Who are they talking to? What are they asking? That stuff can be leaked out. So,
answer Sue right now, Kev.
100% sure that Karen is innocent. Well, all right, I'm going to answer that, but let me ask you this still. What would it take for you to question things a little bit? See, what happens with all of us is we buy into a narrative really early.
Turn it around.
No, I don't mean that. I don't mean that in a critical way at all. That's all. I just want people to start questioning things more. And, interestingly enough, Turtle Boy seems to be doing that on his shows. He's a little more opening to question things. But for me, well, all right, I will say this. If that 2:27 a.m. search really happened, yeah, I'm 100% certain she's innocent. 100%. I'm looking for physical evidence, data, things like that that don't rely on witness testimony. So if she actually did search at 2:27 a.m., there's no question there's a conspiracy. Obviously, other things too. Did the health app actually show that John O'Keefe went into the house? To me, if he went in the house, there's a conspiracy because every one of them testified that he never came in. So that proves it automatically. Are there other things? I'm sure there are a lot of other things. We never. Obviously, if they find canine DNA on his arm, there's another thing right there. They may not. If they find canine DNA on his clothing, that'd be pretty important. So, I mean, it's possible he came into contact with a dog somewhere else, but I would say would not be if DNA like that is found inside his wounds on his arm, it's game over. It's game over. So, and I'm sure there's other things too that I'm not thinking of here. Obviously, my main problem with the whole idea that Karen Read is guilty is the wounds on the back of John O'Keefe's head. It does not. A tail light is 28 inches for an SUV. Of the Lexus SUV is 28 inches off the ground. John is 6'2". Very unusual for him to get hit right in the back of the head like that, but impossible for him not to have bruises somewhere else in his body if he got struck in the back of the head. Look at the way your head is. There's no way. There's no way for that injury. And I know one of the other supporters of the channel that talks to me, her brother-in-law's father is a chief in a local fire department, and he's very into this case. Her whole family is, and he says there's no way that injury, that total injury package, could be caused by an SUV. No way. So, I mean, those are the things for me that make it seem almost certain, but very likely. Well, let's say very likely right now that she's innocent. But on the other side, I do wonder about certain things, such as the fact the timeline seems to be she left at 12. Right, she left the accident scene right around 12:31, right around when he stopped moving or his phone stopped moving. So for me, that's a big thing. The fact that she hasn't let the prosecutor have access to her phone data, that's troubling. Yeah. And I would say just even another little thing. Again, I get worried about any kind of hearsay or testimony, but this was backed up by the niece. So when at 5 a.m. when she had John's niece, a 14 or 15-year-old, call Jen McCabe, the niece and Jen McCabe both testified that Karen said the last time she saw John was at the Waterfall Sports Bar. And then Jen McCabe corrected her, said, no, we saw you pull up in front of the house. And then she said, oh, yeah, that's right. Now, I don't think she'd forget that. So to me, if that conversation is accurate, it looks a little suspicious. So there are things there. I know people don't want to hear it, but there are some things there. So,
Jane, when everyone asked me if I saw him poke his head in the door, then why would she think she hit him? Possibly a shock. Why did Jen McCabe pass a polygraph? I didn't know she took a polygraph, but I don't put any. If she failed it miserably or if she passed it with flying colors, I don't put any stock into polygraphs. My predictions on Morrissey, he'll get promoted just like every other corrupt idiot who who can't tell his ass from his elbow in the state. Do you think the clothing has been scrubbed? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Probably. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you're dealing with planting evidence and that kind of corruption, you really don't know what you can rely on and what, what's been destroyed. We don't know. I'm not saying for sure that that's what's going on, but if you have a situation that involves that, it's hard to know what you can rely on for evidence. All right, there was another example. So strangely, John O'Keefe's phone, the same one that shows Karen Reed backing out and hitting John's SUV with her taillight at 5 a.m. or 5:03 a.m. or something like that. That same ring, that camera seems to show nothing at all between 11 p.m. and that 5 a.m. thing. It doesn't show her coming home. So somebody had to delete that, it seems. Who would delete it? Well, Karen could delete it, or perhaps someone with John's phone, maybe, although they would have to unlock the phone. So I don't know. Obviously, if there's a conspiracy, I think people would have the ability to delete it. But why wouldn't they delete the video of Karen leaving the driveway too? Then, so I don't know. It's
right.
There's a lot of stuff to work out here.
I actually agree with K&M. I believe Reddington believes that Karen is innocent as well, and he's just there to take the fall. The fact that the defense lawyer is saying she passed a polygraph, everybody knows they're not admissible in court because they're fucking voodoo. It's the same thing as telling me you went to a fortune teller. They just mean nothing. I can't believe anything she says, but I
wish we could have Reddington on the show. He seems like a little elderly and a little maybe not all there.
The way he's going, he's going to be co-hosting with us. Yeah, he's going to be co-hosting with us.
He would be a fun guest, wouldn't he?
Yeah, we got to get somebody on from this involved. And seeing Karen Reed's defense attorney in action the other day was, that guy's this is not a fair fight, buddy. This is not a fair fight. What about the reports that his body temp was still being 80 degrees? Couldn't have been out all night. Do you know the source of it? That's a smoking gun for the defense. I think the Google search, how long to die in cold, was mostly about trying to get, and it's true, most guilty people hire Reddington. I just had an inmate of mine by the name of Randall, who he had him as his lawyer. He just went down for two murders. So, and he just got life upstate. I think the Google search for how long to die in cold had everything to do with timeline. They were trying to get the timeline right. So when the medical examiner took a look at the body, he could have a different time of death than when it actually happened.
I want to give a shout out to Mary Ann Flaherty, who donated $25, and she did it on the PayPal below. So thank you very much, Mary Ann. We really, really appreciate it. Man, if we ever had money left over, we would just buy everybody a dinner and just have everybody come down, and it would be great to meet you all in person.
We're gonna do something with everybody. Hopefully, once Karen Reed gets exonerated and we solve some missing children's cases, we're all gonna get together for some non-alcoholic beers.
Non-alcoholic beers, come on, that's like caffeinated coffee.
Jane, I'm well aware of defended a guy who killed 2 people in Adderall. He got 2 life sentences. That guy was an inmate of mine at a certain sheriff's department. Total dingbat, Jane.
So we're down to 848 total viewers, Dave. So we still have 7 minutes to get to 10. Unless something really exciting comes up, I'm feeling good, so I could go longer. But I don't. We're gonna run out of shit to talk about. So
Randall killed your friend's nephew, Michelle. That's horrible. I know the case. He killed him over an Xbox game, or there was some drugs involved, and he's gonna go upstate, and he's gonna have a long, long, long life. The way he behaves, he's gonna have a long life. No, I'm not. I work at the sheriff's office, Birdman.
Hey, Dave, can you? I know we're going a lot on the Karen Reed, but can you tell people your Aaron Hernandez story?
I'd rather not, because that's kind of
that's insider stuff. Okay.
Yeah, I'll talk about a lot of things, but anybody who read the famous writer wrote a book about Hernandez. I can't remember his name now. What's up? Sorry, I'm seeing what's upstate, what prison. He's probably going to go to Cedar Junction, or maybe even Shirley. Probably Shirley. The way he's behaved, he's been if he had a couple disciplinary on his record, he's going to Shirley. He was just a dingbat, and everyone. It's been well reported. So, yeah.
It was just kind of. You got to deal with him personally, so You know, you had your own impressions on his behavior. Was he?
It's just
Yeah.
one of he's an interesting character, Aaron Hernandez, and now his brother is apparently planning school shootings. And have you seen the stories about his brother lately?
He did. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
is Cedar closed, Scott? I don't know which one. Is Cedar Junction closed? I don't even know. Maybe it is. You probably go to Shirley, a place you never want to work or live. Just a fucking hellhole, And when your head gets beaten in by an inmate and you're a vegetable for the rest, Patterson, Tracy, when you're a vegetable for the rest of your life, the state rep up there will come in and tell the inmates what a great job they're doing at reforming themselves. It's just a fucking it's a horrible job. It's fucking impossible to be in uniform nowadays in any level, and I'm glad I'm out of it.
Donahue, thanks for he notices the collaboration between the two of us. Yeah, I mean, the chemistry is real. It's not just something we put on the show here. We've been talking to each other for months, long before we were doing the live here. And, I trust Dave. I trust his passion. And he's a good man. And he's doing fantastic work on this. You guys can see that and sense it too. So you probably know why. But that's why we have that good chemistry, And every once in a while, we need someone to pull him back a little bit. And I do that, but just enough, not enough to get in the way. And so it's a good relationship.
Yeah, it is. We got 4 minutes, guys. Someone close to you did time in Shirley. I'm sorry to hear that. I know that it's a terrible, terrible place. 1999 from Victoria. Thank you so much, dear. Do judges get drug tested? No. And they should. I think judges every one of them should be up for debate every year on their job. And it's a lifetime appointment and it's a fucking scam. It's a scam. I don't have my own.
So I'm sorry, Mark loves Angels too. I don't know if you see that one. It says for him, no one in that house came outside with a fellow officer on the lawn. Yeah, it's shocking. It's shocking. It's shocking. I was telling someone else in my family who's connected to law enforcement this case a few months ago, and definitely presenting it from the Karen Reed's innocent side, and presented all the facts. And he was like, nope, she's guilty. Nope. He's like, she backed the car on purpose. Nope. Everything was, he wasn't buying any of it. And then at the very end, I kind of waited a minute and I said, do you find it odd that the Boston cop didn't come out? And I told him what happened. And he's like, ooh, yeah, that's not good. That was the only thing that changed his mind.
Patricia Brennan to Stacy. We went to school. I don't remember. I don't really remember many people from school. Such a long time ago. We're both old now. Then you're showing your age, kid. Dave, did you get my email address from Kevin? Yes, I meant to get back to you today, brother. I will get back to you right after this. I'll be up for a while. I got a 4-year-old. Any other state have the same lifetime appointment for judges? Yeah, just all the really corrupt ones like New York, California. Yeah, it's pathetic, man. Anytime I'm in a courtroom and I see people stand up, sit down, the judge tells them to, I just get sick. It's like, really? Why? So you can let somebody get out with 84 criminal offenses so they can go shoot a cop in the back like they did to Ron Tarantino. I mean, it's just fucking sick. The whole system is broken. It should be grounded up to a million pieces and scattered to the wind, like JFK once said.
Mary Goff, thank you. Good night. Always an honor to have you here. She's been one of the ones that's been with me here since the beginning. So thank you, Mary. We're pretty close to it. Thank you, Mary.
Jesus, Mary, you must be pulling your hair out.
She wants to look like me.
Who wouldn't? And I thank you so much for telling me I'm correct. I don't hear that a lot because I'm married, Amy. So I appreciate it.
I just want to say too that if you ever send me a message and I don't answer it, it's because somehow I didn't see it. I would never ignore a message. The problem now is I'm getting messages on so many different formats that I get confused. I'm an old dude, so I'm getting messages on Instagram, Facebook, the feed, Facebook, the page, private messages, Reddit, the YouTube channel, and like the stuff that comes on Meta is almost confusing to me to even access. Like I'll say I got a message and then I go around, I can't even find it. So forgive me, but just be persistent. If I don't answer, it just means somehow I missed it. Send it, send it again. I think it's pretty rare. I think usually I succeeded in answering, but that's all it is. I would never ignore anybody. So thank you guys.
Yeah, you did a good job. You did a great job getting Joe Randall a good couple life sentences. So good job on Kevin Reddington. Great lawyer. really good. The case of Sean Gannon, yes, who was killed by Thomas Kanowich, was it? And that guy had been on the street after racking up 6 or 7 pages worth of violent behavior, and he was allowed to kill Sean Gannon, be on the streets to kill Sean Gannon, a guy who'd done the right thing his entire life. So, all right, 10 o'clock, Kev, you want to call it?
Yeah, let's call it. It's getting late. It's past your bedtime, son.
Thank you.
I'm just kidding. Odd. Guys, thank you very much for being here. And maybe we'll see you tomorrow, but certainly we'll see you soon.
Zux, reach out to me, dude. Seems like you know a thing or two. Reach out to me, Scotty. Thank you guys so much for hanging with us tonight.
Have a good night, guys.